actually do better this time? Can they make it into that final, or will G2 send them packing?
It's time, of course, for Samsung Match Start. Load up fast with Samsung SSDs. It's MIBR here on Haven, starting on defense. G2, a grueling day for them yesterday. VALORANT in tears, fearing that it might be over. Looks like they're just getting started.
A lot of weight lifted off of their shoulders, but when we're talking about G2, we're speaking about a team that last year were always finishing in second place, coming so close to winning trophies, and now trying to gun for their second already this year. Trying to win this lower bracket and get into the grand finals. Aspas under pressure, has to get out as the execute comes through.
None of the mobility available as well. He is skint on abilities. Slips away though to backside as that fault line came through. There's an early challenge though already here towards Garage! And it's RDB, the third, with nasty work!
Oh, even the stun connects onto Jonah. He's just running straight through the salvo, and Shannon through spawn cleans things up. Started it off, finding Jaw caught alone in sewer.
Oh,
sometimes
man.
Artisan he just decides to give you that type of performance.
It was over so quick he forgot to stand up. Shell-shocked. This reminds me of the plot of Dr. Stone. In a flash, everybody is extinct. Nasty.
4 right clicks, 3 kills, and Josh already a mild disappointment.
Good job.
Now remember, MIBR coming into the upper final, 75% pistol round win rate. It's definitely been their bread and butter for getting that early start, and that's perfect on the defense side here at Haven.
They have bought up very heavily into this, actually, MIBR. Look at that. 3 Guardians, a Vandal, a Stinger. And you know why? Because G2, they're going to be going for the full force every single time. I mean, you want to talk about 75%? Same stat of G2 winning this exact round.
That's just brazen. Cortezia walks out and challenges that angle. This thing is, though, do go to work. Whittling MIBR down to 3 players. However, as 2 Guardians and a rifle about to be trained at the remaining attackers. It's Trent and Leaf, the latter, who's taking a bit of damage, and Leaf almost gets banged down through the wall. He's so low.
He's just too weak. The high bullet pen from the Guardian paying dividends for the defensive side. It's forced him off the spike. This timing is so awkward, but Trent gets caught.
It's all on Leaf now. Tucked here in Cubby. Verno gives a tap here, free orb. Leaf can't resist. And there's Verno. Knew he was there the whole time. Decent conversion there on that anti-eco round for MIBR.
That's exactly what you have to do when you're going up against G2. That 75% mark that they were at of winning these round 2 forces, it has dropped somewhat after MIBR just fully invest into them.
Pop it, guys. Still.
Guardians for the long range to counter the fact that those Stingers just do not succeed when they're taking the engagements down areas like C-Long, etc.
All right, well, the hot hands are back out again. Cortezia seeing if he can catch it with his face once more, I'm sure. These matches, you know, while both of these teams, of course, will be in Toronto, the top seed means a lot. It always is very, very important to come out of an international league and get yourself a huge advantage early on. In the past, it's allowed you to bypass the group stage. Spend all that time prepping, watching, studying, and getting yourself set. I do think that these matches also have a kind of quality to them. I don't know. I know you're not an anime guy, but you know, everyone's always running like who wins, like Goku or Saitama, you know, Gojo or insert other protagonist here. It is definitely fun to take the temperature of these 2 teams now that they're qualified, now that pressure is off to some degree, because last time these guys played, it was Verno's first ever game with MIBR. And he acclimated very quickly, Wyatt. But even then, there's got to be a little bit of wriggle room there. It takes some time to really get him up to full speed with the roster.
Absolutely. That was such a close affair. That was the first game that MIBR played with him, as you said, and it was a 3-mapper. They were the first team to push G2 as this second stage started, or rather first stage after Kickoff started. And just based on the eye test alone, obviously this MIBR team, even if they finish in 3rd place today, we've seen them get significantly better. They are not the same MIBR that we saw in Kickoff that were making it to that point, but it felt like there was a gap between G2 and them. There was a gap between Sen and them. And of course, look, Sen did beat them pretty handily yesterday. Sen are in God form at the moment, though, so I don't want to knock MIBR too much for that. I would be a little more concerned, honestly, though, if for them moving into Toronto today is not a close affair. If we get a similar result as we did with MIBR against Sen, then I think you could maybe start to worry a little bit.
Of course.
But I don't want to get ahead of myself.
This G2 looking incredible this year, already showing up at an international final. This man on the screen, a big part of it. But let's hear from the man himself on what he, Jorgamo, brings to this G2 roster.
I would say people need to think of me on G2 as like that kid that came in from another team and just showed up on the core roster of the guard and closed out a trophy. Like, you know, I think I want to be a reasoning for them to know why they actually brought me into the team. You know, we fell short, sure, but that was still not enough for me to be like, yeah, guys, we got that trophy. You know, we still talk about to this day, like, oh, we got second. Like, you know, I don't want them to ever hear second again. Either we won or we lost. There's no second, you know? So I think that's why I want people to know about what I can bring into this team and what I brought already. And yeah, I think that's what I need the world to know.
What do you think this last couple of weeks has actually been like for this G2 team? It must be so jarring. Have such a flawless run through group stages, and then you hit a wall so early in playoffs, an upset loss, and all of a sudden, the doubt starts to creep in. Will we be able to go back to a global tournament? Will we have a shot to redeem ourselves after that banger loss against T1?
We've heard from other players who have been at the absolute top of the scene that it's easier to get there and harder to maintain that spot because everyone is looking at your play style. They're taking from you. They're understanding how you are approaching the game because they're taking your approach. And that's been tough for G2, but I do really respect the fact that they've been able to maintain a level that they're winning all of their games. They have been closer, and it's just been Sen that have been able to come over the top and actually beat them at this point. And I think at some point, too, we've seen teams need that. You need that extra kick of energy that, okay, they are right on our tail. We gotta take it up to that next level now. And if G2 have a next level, that's where they're in God mode. That's where they're an untouchable team.
And in many ways, it's kind of serendipitous that loss comes at a point where it doesn't eliminate them entirely. Right? It comes at a stage where they're in a double elimination tournament where they get a second chance. It's honestly, you can honestly look at it as being potentially best case scenario. You get humbled the way you need to, you double down, you fix things, you now realize exactly what other teams are looking at, and you're not out of the tournament. You still get to make it to a global event. You've got a month after this to prepare, whether you're top seed or second or third. Seems like if you're a team like G2...
You're definitely going to need a couple days off after getting clutched on by Ye multiple times to lose your undefeated map and then barely making it. You're going to need some time between now and Toronto when this stage ends.
All right, we had a network cable switched out there. Final checks in progress, and then we'll be underway once more on Haven. It will be our third round of this map. Both of these teams, honestly, pretty solid on this map over the course of the year. This is another map, though, where MIBR kind of show their tendency towards classical comps, trying to put Aspas on the Jet, as opposed to, maps like Lotus, where they're trying him on the Neon more. We saw even Waylay on their Pearl. This is, though, where Aspas gets his bread and butter.
Certainly. And you can never really go wrong with Jet on this map. This is one of the cool maps on the pool right now that you do actually have a lot of options as to how you want to approach it. There are multiple comps that are all very, very relevant. MIBR kind of taking the more traditional approach, and it's still very valid. All right, we're getting back into the game now. G2, they are forced to save as they did their standard second round force that they are known for, but MIBR were able to convert that round in pretty clean fashion, giving them a nice early advantage in this map.
Chenom is someone to keep an eye on with that Sheriff. He also has a rifle, though, to work with, even more deadly. Is this a Sheriff round for G2? Ardazine with that very tight off angle, expecting a fair bit of action over towards the B side, and with that stealth drone, being aware that Jorgamo is testing Garage, they're in the right place for now.
Ooh, that flash didn't actually connect onto Aspas, so there was no audio cue for G2 to know that someone is actually posted up in A long. Regardless of that, but they're going to pivot back. Cortese, he's pushed up. He just has the Sheriff. This could be tough. He does get the first, but he can't connect the second. Instant trade from Trent.
That was, though, the Sheriff player, the weakest buy on the entirety of MIBR. And they're ready in the back of C-side. Chenom already guns Valen down. Vault line comes through, but where's the control util? They lost Valen so early. Now it's up to Leaf, who has snuck through in fairness, but has a heck of a lot of work still to do.
Wants to try and pivot through garage now. 2 players on site. Just with this Sheriff. Have to get some one-taps, but Artzin shuts him down.
Again, game so far from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Those Guardians at long range fighting C-long as G2 are trying to push up with the weaker weapons. They're just so cooked. I mean, this was really their best opportunity. The fact that it was just Cortezia with the Sheriff pushed up and they could get a 1-for-1. But already, Shenham and Artzin had rotated back C for support with such a quick pace that G2 were really put in a hopeless position. Now they are on the full buy, though, for the first time in this game. The economy for MIBR very strong at the moment.
All right, here's that fault line and a smoke. So start to see some of that Astra util now. Verno will respect it. Pull off this a little more. Aspas being moved from A long over towards this B site this round. Making use of that verticality, but Shenham gets plucked out from under him and he doesn't see a damn thing.
All right, the stealth drone is going to go into the B side from Trent. Jaw has A control while he still has his dimensional drift over towards C. So there are options for G2 right now in the mid round, but they are content just allowing MIBR to play right into their hands.
As MIBR getting impatient, pushing up for info. They don't have a lot of easy ways to get that on this team. Beautiful shot from Artazine. Jaw caught with some util in his hand, but quickly Valen snaps back. And it's Cortezia all alone. And when you only have the stealth drone to get that sort of passive info, you do have Cypher, of course, but it might be able to take some risks to push up for info. Get one more gun away, though, I think, from G2, and you're feeling good. Can Cortezia get at least that?
Yeah, could throw down the cage, try and obscure one of these angles, isolate a fight.
Just on his right, left and in front. Virtually impossible to win these scenarios. Never see it happen. Cortezia tries to draw some aggro, but Valorant finds 3 for the round. And all things considered, G2 getting their buy in here, maintain 3 rifles.
G2 have a very cool attacking setup there when we're in the mid-round, where they have the ability to pivot back to multiple sites because of Jaw on the Yoru, and having that gate crash over towards C just didn't end up mattering because MIBR wanted to go for something proactive on this late in the game bonus round buy. And G2 were able to easily nullify that aggression, just post it up on the right angles, connecting the shots, really just that simple.
Just a perfect example of contacting for info getting punished by a team on a slower default.
Aspas has upgraded to the AWP here, and he's going to post deep A long, where G2 are really giving him no opportunity to play because they're always putting Nebula here.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Aspas thinks twice about it, but G2 have snuck in the timing. The timing is right there. Like, oh my goodness, what a flick! Valen doesn't know what hit him. Like a ball out of the blue. Aspas deals with the first interloper, and there's more where that came from. First clone. Looks like that would have been shot. And there's Jorg finding Artazine. There goes that util, but Aspas with the shorty. Such efficient use of those shells. Leaves it up to Trent and Leaf, and they are banged up bad.
Cortezia is wrapping on the flank right now as well. Slows down just at the perfect time, so Leaf can't hear those footsteps. Shenham on the swing, gets the first. Trent isolated alone.
Strong wind to blow him away. 7 points of health, salvos in hand, no plant to speak of. And Cortezia cleans things up. G2 sent packing again.
If you're an MIBR fan, that's exactly what you want to see out of Aspas today. Had a very uncharacteristic, poor performance against Sentinels. But just several rounds in, excuse me, is lighting up G2.
Saying, wide field of view, pretty good.
Pre-nerf shorty look in action.
Yeah, that was quite uncanny, actually. Good to see Artazine getting, into some Busio vibes there on stage. Timeout here for G2. So the one successful round, Wyatt, they punish these push-ups for info from MIBR, but those opportunities don't present themselves there in round number 5.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they just go into a very solid standard A execute. It's just dismantled by Aspas finding the perfect timing window to get into the smoke to get 2 with the shorty. Jaw's caught with the util out in his hands. It was just a very messy situation that he was able to exploit. By messy situation, I mean it was really just the tiniest transitional moment for G2 where they were trying to pop out of that dark cover.
Despite the pressure maybe not being there so much for G2, they probably still feel like this is their game to lose. I'm sure you can see it on the face of Josh RT. Yes, he looks less nervous, but he definitely looks adamant that they should be moving into our grand final here of stage 1.
Will say yesterday, man, I've never seen Josh look more uncomfortable when we're on the coach cams. He is normally so cool, so calm, but you could see the stress and
Agitated.
his body language was so different.
He was starting to look like
his typical
Kaplan
state.
after facing like a mild
The keeper.
inconvenience, right?
For real.
Thankfully,
All right.
there's no G2 mascot to get crushed between his hands. Okay, Teo util here just to clear sewers, and obviously that same smoke up A long. It's Verno, again, respecting it.
Wants to get the information with the stealth run because G2 have been happy to, on every single round, they place this Nebula A long, push up at least Jaw into this area of the map. It's just going to be a full-on A exec from G2. Here come the smokes, and it seems like MIBR will be content just playing this for the retake. Can't blame them for that.
Deep in the site, though, playing from hell is Jorgamo right now, and he wants a bit more. Again, great position for that Stinger to have value. A rolling thunder here could be devastating for these entrenched G2 attackers. Comes through right about now. Steel Garden also being active now to even the odds. That's deployed by Leaf. MIBR now can't capitalize on the stun.
That got a lot of connections there. Aftershock is going to be good to force Jonah off this angle with the fault line. He's going to have to send that out and run. Still though, MIBR, look at the delay utility. By the time they get in here, they're going to have virtually no time to actually defuse this spike.
What is going on? The salvos stop MIBR from following up on that util from the bridge, and now they're getting cut down by G2. Not even a full Stinger round, but have a look at this. Plenty of rifles to be recovered. Trent and Jonah P get their grubby little hands on them.
Oh my god,
Setup is brought down with an op in hand. That's ugly.
Oh, threads the needle with that one. Jonah jumping across. I think maybe he took the leg shot actually. He's at 2 HP, but regardless, I love how G2 were able to position themselves in that post plant. I'm not mad at MIBR giving the site for free. Sure, play a retake there. You have the significant weapon advantage. But G2 respond to that by pressing forward, stuffing them in the choke points, close range with the Stingers, and it really also comes down to Leaf getting a Steel Garden off that connected onto, I think, 4 players, minimum 3. So you're just wasting time.
On 2 separate occasions, G2 have amazing util to respond. First to the Rolling Thunder, then to the Aftershock that was going to force Jonah out. Really sick stuff.
Down.
Great reactive play from the attackers. A well-earned round. This time Verno wants maybe to ask for a little bit more towards A long, but it's another slower start from G2.
Oh, Cortezia punished, pushing for information. This is some vintage G2, getting the attacking op in the hands of Leaf and allowing him to just pick off defenders that are overplaying their hand.
Yep. Reminds me of that Chamber Leaf action. Can still get it done here as well. Jorg, deep into the seaside, backside smoked, and now MIBR have to put it together. Valen probably hears this. Disrupted the plant. Jonah P might want to try and just pave the way with a fault line here.
When he gets this plant, he's going to have the Rolling Thunder, by the way. Going to be even more difficult for MIBR to try and get back into this site.
Jonah's thinking about it too. Has it lined up. Hardesine also getting ready for some utilities. Oh, Jonah lets it ring out. Rolling Thunder comes through. This will delay things a little bit more, and Shenom is set upon by Valen. He heard the TP earlier and picks his spot beautifully. Hardesine is going to try and clear this out now. Valen well aware of where he is. He crosses back to the right. He's out of there.
There's only one decision to make for Aspas and Verno after the Rolling Thunder is expended, and that is to save. And hey, at least they got it out, I suppose. Artson would love to be able to take an engagement and upgrade this Sheriff, if he can.
I don't see him getting too much here at all. Push down mid. Solid opening there for G2, but in fairness, Wyatt, in fairness, Cortezia serves him up a bit of a freebie, pushing that C-Long again. It's MIBR contacting for info.
And immediately after that, G2 just have the easiest decision in the world to get into C. There's not going to be any trips, just accelerate.
Well, they have dimensional drift for
Right
Jorg
into
as
the
well.
site Insta. It's way too easy. MIBR, awkward situation with the cash. Cortezia fully investing. Some players still have a little bit in the bank.
This is a nice spot.
They've still got this op from Aspas. Still have not found a round to have big impact with it. He got the 1 pick. What was that, 4 ago, 3 ago?
Round 4.
It's been a while.
In fairness, they converted off that beautifully. Now, though, it's a little bit of a different world. Aspas is not sure about whether this is going A. He thought about heading Heaven. And G2 just probing, once more trying to draw someone from MIBR out. Wait for them to get impatient.
Where that MIBR are running a very different setup in this round is Verno has typically been over towards A, sending that stealth drone down long, but gets pinged out for the G2 initiator util as they slow down in this mid round.
They probably guessed that Aspas is playing A long as a result of that. So far, those two have just been switching places. And that was true initially, but not so much now. Deep in sewers. Artazine set up here to try and extract some value from the Stinger, and he might have an opportunity here.
MIBR were really expecting G2 to try and make some kind of foray towards B. That hasn't been the case, so now they are trying to rotate some defenders over towards A, where G2 are selling that presence and pivoting back to C. This is gorgeous. The site is so free.
Okay, nice for Cortesia. Finally forges out, but that wall is set for, you know, an A hit. So MIBR definitely drift over that way, and that's value. It covers back C site. Eventually, G2 are going to try and clear into that area now. And Jonah on a big wide flank. The time is ticking for Verno.
Just wanted to find a time to use that stun. It's not actually going to happen. Can Shenum back C long have impact?
Timing. The timing. Professor V is on the hunt. He's on the march. He's coming from the rear guard as well. Little fault line. Verno nowhere to go right now, but Artazine's on the spike. Jonah's going to get there. He just doesn't have nearly enough time. Caught inside the paranoia. And Shenum drags him into a living nightmare.
He found the exact right timing window. He was all the way down C long by the orb, swings out, collects 2 kills, sitting at a cool 9-4 right now for the rookie controller player from Brazil. Yeah, it was just in this moment. Oh,
there's
no eyes on that.
2 timings happening simultaneously, right? Jonah on the wrap.
Nice!
And Shenum, great round.
Let's go,
I like the
boys.
idea of trying to use that. Cosmic Divide is misdirection, right? Imply an A hit, then pivot to the other extremity.
You have to give credit to Cortesia as well, who found Trent on the rotate in the mid-round to set that up. But regardless, we're into the next where G2 still have a ton of cash to play with. They're going to be buying for the next couple at least. Enough so that they still want Leaf to be playing with this attack side operator even.
Drone going out.
Haven't really seen any early sewers play from MIBR since that round 4, and Cortesia shows himself. Last round it worked. He got a kill pushing out. This time, he shows a little too much leg.
And now G2 have all the time in the world to work them out. Artsin is trying to... Oh, wow, barely escapes, just ducking his head below. He wanted to try and find a moment to even things up 4-on-4. MIBR are making a decent rotate here towards the A site. Verno is on the way.
Shenum, TP's out, all is well. Artazine low, and at least they have a player in the site. A bit more of a sacrificial lamb, though. Verno's going to be there. Trent now knows he's about to get busy. Special delivery comes in. He's got to take the power. Oh my goodness. Had the crosshair placed to perfection. But Verno's still fighting. Eventually cut down. But at 10 health, this whole time, Artazine's been waiting to emerge. He has done the most. And Jonah gets sat right down.
1 bullet left. Stone cold from Artzin. Tucked into the corner. Man, he is having a game right now.
How does he stay alive there?
We haven't seen this from Artzin in a minute, but we've known he's been capable of it because he will just give you the maps where he is IGLing, playing a supportive role, and is the star of the show with the highlights.
I think he just tucks next to the dark cover because he walks on the side after getting dinked by Jonah in sewer.
Yeah, they backed up into that spawn side, and then he rotates, pivots back in after the Tejo missiles from Trent expired.
That is nasty work.
Some really good pathing.
Oh, I like this. Okay, a bit more of an aggressive smoke on the defense side here towards lobby. Jorgmo doesn't respect it, but also is the only player, an insert here with a gate crash to get out, and he will.
That is much of what we've seen from the opening rounds for G2. Georgia typically hasn't actually been pressured to need to teleport away. This is the first time that's really been the case. And now that they have control of A, MIBR are rotating around towards CB. They know that G2 are going to be heading this way as they are making their exploration through Garage. This Armageddon is fantastic.
G2 have to split very quickly away from this, but Leaf is on the other side. He's a little more committed, but MIBR haven't capitalized just yet. Backside also an Armageddon. Both Tejo's unleashing, and it will be a C retake for MIBR.
Okay, and a great Steel Garden from Leaf. Just couldn't capitalize on MIBR. They're trying to flood back in, but they're getting stuck in this nebula. They can't move. Verno caught.
Yep, still stuck there. Briefly stunned. It would seem that way. Shenum is going to trigger the shield wall here, and Trent is looking for this. And they know Shenam's done this before. The late timing. This round, it's a little later and too late to stop G2 on the site. Sees the gate crash come past. Jorg might take a time in a TP to that to double swing this if they know Shenam is here. Barrel shown. Trent is walking up into that one. Again, he's looking for exits here. He's all but done as G2 are going to find a crucial round number 4. Might see Jorg anyway step up, try and get the gun away from him. It's not to be. Shenam says, I'm taking this with me.
Some pretty unbelievable impact from Leaf in this series so far. Has really been a standout for G2 in my eyes. I mean, aside from just getting all those kills, several of which have been first bloods, catching out aggressive MIBR players. Both Steel Gardens he's had have connected onto 3 or 4 players. When that Armageddon came in from Verno, when G2 were making their garage pivot into C, he stopped them from being able to capitalize off of it by sending out the Steel Garden at the perfect time. He's playing so well on this Vice.
And that was an episode of Will It Blend, MIBR edition. Yes, the answer. Here's another deep push up for Cortesia. This time, though, being a little more patient about it. Flicking that cam. G2 have to know he's tucked here. Given the economy being shaky as it is, VALORANT is ready for it. Only takes a lick of damage. And on the C we go once more, uncontested. G2 get in.
Cortesia has been playing such an aggressive half of Cypher, and frankly, it's just not been working. G2 have had the read on him, and he's been getting punished.
He's the most aggressive by far, but he's Aspas' Blade Storm. Okay, Rolling Thunder comes out, but Leaf catches Shenam sleeping, and there's Artazine falling as well. Aspas is not really durable enough to go for this, but what choice do you have? Do you decide instead, yes, to just exit the round with some dignity and a rifle?
I mean, look, MIBR, they do already have 6 rounds on the board. You'll take that on defense side, Haven. That's totally fine. G2 were in such a dire spot, though. All those MIBR rounds came right at the beginning. I love that play towards C, getting Jogamo up into the spawn, swinging, flanking Artzin after he sends out the Rolling Thunder. They isolate those 2 front players, just effectively ignore Aspas, who was flanking all the way down C long. Like, he gets this kill here, and then look at the response. There's Jaw fighting forward. They're fighting into garage. Who cares about Aspas? They'll let him run down long and waste his time. Have fun. We're going to kill everybody else first.
And this is the consequence of MIBR's solo Cypher on C pushing up in the early rounds. He's got a stinger in that one, so you can maybe forgive it. But we have seen a bit of a pattern from Cortesia. He's taking some big risks against a team who's really hard to punish.
Look at the board. Your Cypher has the most deaths on your team by 3. He's died 9 times already. Regardless, Verno, he's pushed up way further than typical into this A lobby, and he's caught in the salvos. That is dangerous. Jaw is sprinting around, getting info with this Cosmic Divide up as well.
And this divide implies a potential B hit. That's why MIBR haven't flooded onto A yet. But here's Jorg from the top rope.
And that's the beauty of the Cosmic Divide. You can get out of the teleport on either side, and the defenders won't hear it. Double swing through is perfect.
Valen jumping through the fog. Once again, G2 with a very clean entry. These attack side rounds have looked slick. Now they have that hammer control here. Aspas dealt with Leaf, so now you're on a timer if you're G2. But the threat is pretty low. Shenam and Aspas on opposite sides of the map, and, well, G2 are going hunting. Jorg with yet another 3-piece, and that is clean, baby!
Look at the way they set up that double swing. Jaw just patiently walking forward, and then Trent sprints around the corner instantly. Both of them are onto Shenam. The fundamentals of G2 have always just been picture perfect.
And again, there's still 3 players of MIBR at B. They're not sure where G2 are heading until it's a bit late.
Aside from Jaw taking that first fight, getting out of the dimensional drift, every engagement there from G2 is just textbook fundamental teamwork. The double push through the wall, the double swing onto Shenam. It's all just so well regimented.
So far, folks, we're getting what we wished for. These 2 Titans of Americas are trading blows. It's an even game heading into the half. We'll be back right after this.
You might have heard I'm going through a little upgrade with my tats. So when Verizon announced that everyone gets a free phone on any plan, pain-free, count me in. Try and beat it. I'll give you a sec.
heavy G2 attention onto that C site. Ends up putting us in an even game at the half after MIBR got off to a roaring start. They win their first 3 rounds. It's a solid look in the bonus, and then looks like G2 started cotton on. They do love a long game, these guys.
It is always a joy to be able to watch Valen call an attack half of Valorant on some of these 3-site maps, especially Haven. Just the 2 where they worked the cosmic divides and in tandem with Jaws' dimensional drift were so cool. Let's see if MIBR can replicate that great early start they had on the first half here on the second, or if G2 can win their first pistol round in this series.
Trent was one of the standout players yesterday. Just a Teo 1 trick nowadays, but he makes it look damn good. He has to back off this A site. The hit is too fast, so quickly G2 get forced into a retake, and there is a trap wire to clear on the wrap, so MIBR know this is coming.
There's no trip behind right now. Perfect son onto Cortesia. He is in trouble. Just gets around the corner barely. 3 flanking G2 players on his tail.
They're coming quickly. They're coming fast. Let loose the hounds of hell. Jedam trying to break out of what could be a bit of a pincer, but it's going badly. What a shot. Aspas, though, is able to deal with 3. Another flawless pistol from MIBR. Now, sorry, we talk about how they've got great pistol rounds, right? Normally there's some strategy, some tactics.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a replay.
This is a you get shot, you die kind of round.
That was very much them getting shot, very much them waiting for the next round to play more Valorant. Oh my god! Clinical aim trainer type stuff. Fraud is like...
just like we do it up, boys.
I'm afraid, like
exactly the plan.
I get to coach this guy. It's crazy. I got this guy on my team.
Aspas is good for a free round more often than not sometimes.
All right. And there is another pistol round win for the team of Pistol Gods. Leaf is the lone player on C with a frenzy, about to feel a lot of pressure from the wave of MIBR utility. No choice but to give this site up.
Now Leaf says, understood, have a nice day. I'm gonna go find my friends. G2 full pistols here. Little frenzy picked up for Leaf. And once again, there is a backside trap wire like there was in the previous round, so this will be telegraphed. Random damage on Verno. He'll be able to regen much of that shield, though, and here comes Trent round the corner. No, not again, G2. Aftershock here is going to keep the classic crew at bay for now.
They're all swinging out. This is a little bit dangerous, but no, at the long range, they're going to begin to get cleaned up. Good pivot from MIBR, and they retain the 3 rifles. Of course, they did come into this with just 2 pistols. You know, watching Cortesia there for a moment, I just want to point out how aggro he was on defense and how curious I am to see how he's going to opt to play now on attack. It was a very uncharacteristic, I mean, he is, listen, I don't want to say it's too uncharacteristic. He is a very aggressive Sentinel player typically, but for him, that was, I think, over the line of what you would normally see and probably in his gameplay style. So I wonder if he's going to continue that on attack, if he's going to slow things down. We'll have to see.
Maybe over the line of what you normally want. Definitely left the C side of the map a little weaker after getting picked up early in many of those rounds.
All right, MIBR, because of that previous buy decision on the bonus, they've got 5 rifles into their actual bonus. Aspas dashing into the B site, waiting for that vault line to go. Leaf, perfect timing on the swing. He's backside. Can he get anyone to help him?
Okay, Jen, I'm able to find Jonah P, but Trent is getting involved now. Now, you see G2 actually filtering into B. This is going to be a cancel called by MIBR. They want to get out. Jorgamo might have a chance to get ahead of this. Or at least back into spawn. Yep, he wants to get across the map as fast as he can, and already G2 are in hot pursuit. Oh man, surely! They don't look back behind them. Artesine deals with Leaf, but they don't expect the second. What about the third, guys? That's a no.
That is precise. I love that from Leaf. He's playing so well right now. This is a Vice on Haven masterclass. Like, if you want to play this Asian here, study the VOD. I mean, I love the way he's able to get back into the site here, punish Aspas, and then he stays alive, is able to wait out his teammates. Then he wraps around, gets this timing onto Cortesia. I just love it. And there's a little delay in Valen peeking and swinging off Leaf so they don't expect a second to be there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that decision for Leaf to wrap around was instinctive. There was no dithering. There was no considering whether or not he should push out. A B just goes for it. Aspas bounds like Bambi into lobby. Past those salvos.
Jonah waiting with the fault line off any contact. Going to rip that for Jaw to take a fight.
Sua's presence here for Jaw, but with the ability to fall back with a gate crash. Aspas a little bit low. I think Trent just swung out and took a wallbang. a chunk out of the star player, but, well, Aspas has 44 health more than he needs. Now 4 more.
Oh, that's a sick entry. I mean, he outpaces the stun actually being able to be used, and there's no one to trade off Jaw. He's the one supposed to get the kill there. G2 feel like they need to double up and re-clear towards Sewer, and in the meantime, Cortezia, much like the last round, is just trying to prod towards Garage, proc that sheer wall.
Getting a lot of value, teasing all of that Sentinel util out. But here's an activation from G2. They're going to move 2 up Sewer. Fastpass is not quick about this. He get wrapped on, but the action is headed elsewhere. And Valen, Mastermind IGL, is downed. Little to MIBR, no, it is completely open on C! Well, who cares about the objective? Aspas at 5 health just takes 2 more kills.
The old lurking jet strikes again, and Cortezia slowly through Garage claims his second on the round.
Why not? He's down to 5. The duelist being there implies more.
Hate to see a round of lurking duelist validation for the masses. hate that for my ranked games. Aspas can do it. Not you. Not you.
Try not to get too many ideas, folks. Man, talk about playing your life, though. Oh, it's so nasty. Aspas quickly getting into the game in a big way. 12 and 7. Bladestorm ready to go.
G2 put in a tragic economic situation right now. MIBR wants to fight for some early control of a lobby, missiles to keep anyone peeking from Sewer at bay, that person being Jaw in this instance. But he's only there with the classic.
Dark cover will dissipate. This will need to be cleared. Trent there just healing back towards this site. And there's no gate crash active right now for Jaw. Remember, we're on a pretty rough buy, so might just be a couple pistols to anchor. We've seen G2 win these kinds of rounds.
Here comes that standard execute utility. Aspas popping out of that Cloudburst backside. The multiple flashes used. From the breach. Paranoia as well. Cortezia in trouble. Okay, he does get his. Going to need some help though. Valen could collect a kill here, and he does.
It's that spacing, that delayed swing from Valen again that gets a kill, but Verno is going to be there. MIBR have every reason to respect G2 on these kind of rounds, but they have the protocols in place to shut down these wacky buys. And that's a clean execution with 4 rifles to carry out.
They are looking very good right now on this attack half. It's just a matter of getting to the finish line, trying to close this game out. MIBR, they are approaching a number of ultimates after this round, cleaning up these weak buy players.
Nice, good round, guys.
I mean, cool, calm, collected. It's a long series. We're hoping to be here for a good time and a long time, so MIBR trying to keep a lid on it. Aspas always like that, though, let's be fair.
Wants to take some kind of early fight towards B. With this Bladestorm in his hands. So confident, he has 6K, and he's just got a Stinger and the Bladestorm. I respect it. Dashing into the C site, pressure on the IGL Valen.
He's missed Valen, though, going over towards the left, tucked into the back corner. The knives don't connect, but Cortezia does. Reliable as ever, the newcomer. Leaf now has no choice but to sit inside this, what would be deployed cyber cage. King's in front of him now, he knows Cortezia is approximately there, and a spray through from Jonah P as well, just triangulating the position. The Professor is on the mark.
Some massive confidence from Leaf, not giving up position in that dark cover. 4-on-4 retake, there's the stun into the salvos. Shenham in a lot of trouble, going to take some damage, has to teleport away.
Yep, MIBR now rattled in this post plant, but they're still trying to hold these anchor spots. Aspas will get first contact here, he sees them come, but Jonah finds another one. The operator of Jaw goes to work, but Odyssey's already found himself 2, shuts down. And now it's up to Verno. Often the last alive in these scenarios because he's got that Teo util, but those salvos are speculative. They don't stop the defuse, and Trent should swing on this, but Verno might have shut this down! No time
There's
for
no
Trent!
time.
Beautifully done! Cool as a cucumber! Like I said, last time these two played, it was the first game for Verno. Surely there were nerves. This time, though, he's a cog in the machine.
That wide swing was perfect to get Trent's crosshair misplaced, get the free kill on Jonah trying to stick. You could see as well, actually, Verno had the idea of trying to go close enough to Garage so his missiles would go through Garage and make it seem like he was actually playing there. But that didn't happen, so they knew he was actually at C-Long, and then he played around his own mistake by wide swinging
That's
and
wild.
breaking Trent's crosshair placement to get that free kill. That was so sick. Great adjustment.
So far this half, G2 have gotten one singular round. And that was against MIBR's bonus. Since then, they've struggled. They've struggled early, and even in these post plants, they've not been able to break back into the map. A close one there, very winnable. Those are the kind of rounds that, honestly, you have to secure more often than not if you want to take a game away from this MIBR squad. VALORANT's look good, but time to time, just like that previous round, completely overwhelmed by the pace of MIBR.
Now pay attention when we get back into this. First look at, obviously, that was a round, should be a round worth 2. This should be getting to MIBR to match point off that Inferno clutch. G2 don't have the money to buy here. But then when they get to their actual full buy, MIBR have not had to use their ultimates. They've been stocking them up. Verno's about to have his Armageddon with just one more kill or a death or picks up an orb or anything. So they're going to have both initiator ultimates to potentially close out the game when G2 are actually even on their full buy.
It's going to be a crazy round because G2 are also very close to those key abilities, but they'd have to ration them, unlike MIBR, who can leverage them to try and get themselves a guaranteed win. Cam cleared. Cage dissipates. Leaf ducks away. Big stack for MIBR here. There is a foray from G2. They see a lot. And they get some damage on Verno, but that's it.
Oh man, you could see Verno really wanted to chase, but given he took 100 damage of his own, he just doesn't, he knows he can't.
The inner canine just telling him to go for it.
Cortezia just watching for anyone holding down mid, trying to get into window, and there's someone at window. That's VALORANT tucked close, hoping to find a moment where he can backstab, pick off one of the rotators. Maybe Verno last in the pack, a weak Verno as well.
This gets him ahead of the trap wire. There's no early warning that VALORANT is wrapped around. Oh, but he turns around, Verno. Spidey sense is clearly tingling. But VALORANT hits him with a 1-2 punch.
That is going to give G2 one rifle to work with. Shannon pop that from the shadows to get deep sidekick control. I mean, he's pushing him forward, but he's going to be in some serious trouble.
This is what Jorgamo was doing on the attack side as well. Shannon getting into G2's face, gumming up the works. Steel Guarder now to, in theory, put them on more even footing. So a 3v3. Secondaries out. Cortezia deals with VALORANT comfortably enough, though. Jorg, his rifle sings. Cortezia now has control of his Vandal once more, but they're on the other side of the boxes. We're at half. They get off of it. Here's Cortezia. Not enough, and an unlikely round to win. G2 on an awkward buy. Crucial, thrifty.
That is a plot armor G2 round if I've ever seen one. VALORANT wins that 1 versus 1 against Verno. Great timing that he found. I like the decision for that aggressive play. I'm surprised they weren't even able to trade under Shannon faster there, honestly. Leaf just whiffed a couple initial shots with the Sheriff. What a tap from Jaw. They pick these rifles back up, and again,
Let's go.
another Steel Garden from Leaf that just gets massive value. And then he throws the thorns at Osbos's feet so he can't come help anyone on site. His util has just been perfect.
Watch out. We've got 4 initiator ultimates on deck. This is a round that is going to be potentially messy. But if Jorg finds a first pick from this contact push, it might get a little simpler. All of a sudden, the calculus gets unraveled.
VALORANT is tucked so close on this corner.
I like this a lot. Push-ups here from Jorgamo, though. Flash out, buying a bit of space for VALORANT now. Kind of resets the situation and forces MIBR to pull back. Gentleman's probing. And Trent refuses to give him anything for free. Hello! He gets on out. Definitely a bit of a jump scare from Shannon, and he does get out of cubby, though.
Now there's a minute left on the clock, a lot of time wasted, and yeah, MIBR, they feel like they have to reset, so they're going to send this stealth drone over towards A to get information, but it's not going to ease up G2's positioning because Leaf has actually got vision on lobby. Here comes the execute, here comes a rolling thunder just to get into the site.
G2 are playing full retake, though. That's the plan with all these initiator ultimates. So Artesine's the one left out there as it all starts to come down, taken immediately by VALORANT. Spike left out in the open. No plant just yet. MIBR have got to fight back into seat for control, but Leaf is on a timing. And Genom, sharp as he is, keeps the round alive. But God, the checklist is long in order to come out with a dub, and VALORANT says, just tear it up. Forget about it.
Forced into the double face. Shannon has been really on fire these past 2 days. Even in the loss against Sen, he was the standout player. Continues that into today. Top fragging in the server right now for both teams, period, sitting at 18.
Nice, boys!
Got to be a timeout here from MIBR. This is probably where you take it. Now, Leaf obviously very vocal there. Now, yesterday, we didn't talk about this much on air, but Ender gets in their comms. We could actually put a headset on and listen to what the players are talking about if we're off duty. Have a conversation with him. He says, you would not believe how loud and almost aggressive Leaf has become in the comms. Everyone at G2 looks nervous. Leaf is constantly saying, push up, take fights, let's get ahead, stop giving up ground for free, really trying to rally them. A big part of what keeps them alive in a series where many of those guys, experienced as they are, were feeling the pressure. God, look at their coach. The coach was pulling his hair out.
Yeah, that's really the first time we've seen G2 all year look nervous, look stressed. Felt like even more so than when we saw them at Bangkok in the finals. So obviously there's a lot of relief there, but they're still gunning after the second trophy to add to their cabinet after getting the first one, winning America's Kickoff.
You heard Jorgamo, he said no more seconds. It's either win or lose from here on out. They want another crack, an international glory. Losing in a best of 5 is not good enough.
They're going up against a very hungry MIBR that have improved with the addition of Verno, that finished in 3rd at America's Kickoff. They don't want to finish in the same spot again today.
The hope of Brazil, man. Showing us that there's so much going on under the surface in that region. See this young talent now shine on the Americas stage. Here's round 21 for you. MIBR still looking for the last couple. And Aspas runs headlong into Jonapi's board. He headbutts it.
It's so simple, and it's executed to such perfection. Again, it's just the timing on these double swings out of the smoke off that fault line, and now a triple reclear. This could be dangerous for VALORANT. Double swing, but it's absolutely dismantled by G2.
Never doubt the G2 crossfire. Trent behind him, ready to work with him, and he's about to find that there might still be remnants of MIBR. Now, I know what you're thinking. G2 would never expect there to be the last 2 players going in the same site. Well, you might be right. They've got plenty of individuals to distribute again across the map.
Taking their time, our MIBR and G2 obviously have no reason to play into this. They are going to wait for the spike to get tapped. If G2 pull off this win, kind of feels like they're unbeatable. I'll be honest, even though Sen beat them in the upper bracket, like, how do you stop these guys?
Oh, Arzine.
They just make these comebacks occur out of thin air.
This is excruciating for MIBR. Trying to tap, trying to plant, and all that util leveraged at them. Aftershock here will keep them off the site for now. They give Arzine enough room to plant. Clone comes out, Arzine takes him down. Firing squad, they're waiting for him. Take him low. Arzine still has the stones to swing into that somehow, but the op brings out. Jaw cuts him down to 1. Cortesia, close but no cigar. And G2 are rapidly catching up.
Love that little jiggle peek from Trent, but it's all of the early round team play from G2 that puts them at such a significant advantage. And when we see it back on the replay, it's just that stun into long, double swing through the dark cover, or Nebula rather, to get this first kill. Yeah, right here. 2 players through. Aspas isolated. Triple reclear. MIBR go for the double swing. Crosshairs are already on those angles. Actually pulled apart limb from limb.
It was like, it was...
What was it like?
We'll never know. Sadly, we'll never know what it was like. MIBR are fully invested. No heavy armors, all regen. Guardian for Shenum. G2 were about to tie this game up. They were down 11-7, and on the round that they first won, they were on a full eco, and they are rallying back into a close game again.
Ooh, that was sharp. Valen went to that left side, so Aspas gets deep. And Valen's been in an awkward position of having to be the solo anchor against a lot of these MIBR fast hits. But hey, plenty where that came from for G2. They will test this. To win heaven, Leaf has time to correct. Zay Gabagool, what are you looking at? Aspas, bam!
One enemy remaining.
Arzine at half health here, and it's just Jorg left. Good crossfires here for MIBR. Gets them 1 round away from taking Haven.
They keep it very simple on that one. Just hit the A site, set up some effective crossfires. Scary for a moment when Ospas can't convert on to Leaf. I will say that.
Okay.
It helps when you can open up the site like that. That's pretty useful.
That's magnetic.
in my opinion.
Yes.
Oh my god, the shots from Inferno there are crazy into heaven. Well, they keep it simple and it absolutely works out. Now G2, they're forced onto a few stingers. One hero op for Jaw to try and drag this game into OT, or MIBR are going to start this series up 1-0, taking their own map pick.
3 stingers. It's going to take a lot of work here for G2. Suffice to say, Shannon just got some information about where Leaf is. Trent trying to get ahead of this now. Big fault line. The spam, though, doesn't really account to much. Aspas dashing deep here. I mean, geez, MIBR adamant about maintaining this A control, and they'll have it, even if they got to fight further.
Spike down.
That's a trade. Trent playing his life as he often does. This has slowed MIBR up now as a Nebula blooms in front of them.
Ooh, 2 suppressed there. Has a feeling there might be a third in that corner as well. This is going to force MIBR to slow things down. Cortezia, I was waiting for that. He has the neural theft, finally found a moment to jump and activate that.
Got every reason to go elsewhere now, but you're still going to get the spike. Oh, and they've left Aspas here again, the lurking duelist play. Or will they decide to stay? It's a pump fake! Cortezia emerges. Valo now realizes exactly what is afoot. But either these things go to work, it's up to Jorg with an op. And he's virtually in a different postcode. For the map, he has got to go wild.
Both of his enemies are pretty weak. If he can actually recover a rifle, should hear that TP, should know it's possible that someone is in heaven, and with that dimensional drift, will know it as a guarantee. Shenum spotted out.
Fast and Furious 12, Brokio drift for Jorgamo.
Fake teleport.
Emerges now to see very little. Shenum is on the site. He's made sound. Shenum trying to keep himself scarce here, stay out of the line of sight. Jorg has to check his left. He tries! Looking for a bit of magic, but MIBR with the dispel. And a great start in this series. Hard for, but G2 kind of go off the ball in that second half.
It felt like G2 were going to make one of their patented comebacks and have the resilience to steal away MIBR's map pick, or at least bring that to OT when they won that eco round, when they were down 11-7 out of thin air. But MIBR, at the very end, they were able to play a pretty straightforward couple rounds, executing into that A site. Verno connecting some seriously impressive shots to bring them over the finish line in that second last round.